But now, the indie rock band Wet Leg have taken the world by storm after their debut album went straight to number one last week. The album, also called Wet Leg, features witty songs about love, sex, parties and breakups and is the brainchild of Rhian and Hester Chambers. And here's a clip of the track Your Mum to give you a flavour of the new album.
When I think about what you've become, I feel sorry for your mum. You say we're all having fun. Do you know you're the only one? When the lights go down on another town, I know it's time to go.
And I am delighted to say I'm joined live with Rhiannon from Wet Leg. Hey Rhiannon, how you doing?
Hi.
Nice to see you. I have to say, you've set up a band with your best mate, and before you know it, your album is number one, and you're touring. This is my teenage dream. You're living it.
Yeah, it's pretty wild, huh?
Tell us a bit about the album, first of all. What can our listeners expect?
There's a few songs post-heartbreak. There's some really silly moments, I suppose. Listen that.
Oh, that's why I like it so much. I mean, and it's great music. The lyrics, that song that we just played a clip of, Your Mum, explain how dry and pretty brutal the lyrics can be. One of my favourite lines, which says, when I think about what you've become, I feel sorry for your mum.
I know, cutting.
So to the point, though. I say you're living my teenage dream. Let's take it back a little bit and talk about when you first set up Wet Leg. Was it 2019?
Yeah. That was, we just finished doing a run of festivals together in like our other friends' bands or with other projects. And we kind of like, we're about to put a lid on it and be like, that's music for us. We've done it now. We're grown up women. We can't be doing this anymore. And then we were just like, well, why don't we just do it as well as doing our jobs and as well as all these other commitments that we have in life. Let's just do this as like a hobby. And that's when we started Wet Leg.
And then lockdown happened.
Yeah.
And what a gift. Was that a gift for you?
Yeah, it was, just to have all that time and space. And I'm living in London now, but I spent it back on the island. And it was just like the longest school holiday.
Yeah, there were worse places, I suppose, to spend it than the Isle of Wight, with your best mate writing music.
Yeah.
And the whole album was created in that time?
No, there was a lot of writing that we were able to do during that time, but it was during the first lockdown that we made the Chaise Longue video. We also made another music video for a song called Angelica. And we made a few more demos and were able to find our management and record label in that time.
This is amazing. It's remarkable. And how do I said, you're living my dream, a lot of people's dream, I suppose, if that's what you dream about. And your album's at number one.
I know, we can't believe it. It's really hard to process. It's so weird.
And in such a short space of time, in less than a year of releasing music. It's all happened so quickly for you. And I read somewhere that you basically set up the band so that you could get into music festivals for free.
Yeah.
It worked.
We're going to festivals.
Humour is such a big part of your lyrics and what you do, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, gosh, I'm so sorry on my phone.
Sorry, Rhiann's just dashed off because her phone is pinging, but such is the life of someone who has a number one album. Is it your mum saying, I'm listening to you on Woman's Hour? Because that often happens when I'm working. Is she genuine? Was it genuinely your mum?
No,
I would love it if it was.
Mom. She knows that I'm doing this. She's listening now, so she wouldn't call.
Of course she is. So what do your families think about all of this success?
Yeah, my mum's really proud, and so kind of shocked because music is not really her thing. She's very much from a nautical background, so she's really excited.
Well, I wasn't expecting you to say that, a nautical background.
Yeah.
So tell us a bit about Mum.
She was one of the first women to go to sea, like in the Merchant Navy. She was an officer of deck. And then, yeah, and then recently she's just retired from teaching. She was teaching celestial navigation.
So your mum sounds pretty amazing. What's mum's name?
Jill Kernick.
Jill. We'll have to get Jill on to talk about going to sea, being one of the first women. But back to you creating music with your best mate, you know, as it is Woman's Hour. Let's talk about just the importance of that friendship and what that experience is like.
Yeah. I mean, we are pretty quiet people. We're quite softly spoken. And so it's funny, like having Hester and her having me, we're kind of like always encouraging each other to take up space. And that's kind of the whole point of the band. Like when we incepted it, we were kind of like, okay, we don't really know what we want to make, but we know that we want to play guitar, like really loud, distorted guitar. And that was kind of about it, really. But yeah, and now everything is moving so quickly. It's just, yeah, it's so invaluable, that friendship.
And I'm sure absolutely invaluable. And back on the phone, Mum's saying, stop talking about me on the radio.
I don't understand. It's on flight mode.
It's all right. Don't worry. And then you are going to be on tour very soon, aren't you? You are playing all the festivals. So how do you, as two very quiet, introverted women, do you kind of step into another persona then when you're on stage?
Yeah.
Because I saw you on Jimmy Fallon rocking it.
Yeah. Yeah. You just kind of, yeah, it's amazing what you are capable of without even realizing it.
And you've said in another interview that even though you're in your late 20s, you were worried that maybe you were a bit too old to be starting out a career in music. Why did you feel that way?
There's just this whole obsession with youth in the music industry, and particularly with women as well. There's definitely a pressure there, not one that I've felt being put on me by anyone that we're working with, but just one that has been programmed into me from like a very early age. So yeah, I think me and Hester kind of went in a bit like apologetic that we were women in our late 20s and not our early 20s. But yeah, no, we work with the people that we work with have just kind of said that's so ridiculous. Why would you think that? But
Well,
I'm sure not everyone's that lucky.
Yeah, and the feeling comes from somewhere, doesn't it? You know, the perception that you have to be super young to start out in anything. And by the way, you are young still. Where does the name Wet Leg come from?
Yeah, there were a few names flying around. A wet leg is what you call someone who's not from the Isle of Wight, an overner, because you have to get your legs wet to come to the island.
I see. Okay. That's what it means.
Yeah. And also it's just out of context. It's such a ridiculous band name. It's just like a reminder to not take yourself too seriously, I suppose.
And it sounds like you are having a lot of fun at the moment. Yeah. Excellent. Well, I want to say huge congratulations. I loved the single when I first heard Chaise Longue because it's one of those stop moments where you find yourself tuning into the radio. It's so catchy. Also, never mind me, Dave Grohl loved it.
Yeah.
I mean, how wild is that?
Wild. Yeah, to hear Wet Leg come out of that man's mouth was just so surreal.
I have enjoyed talking to you, Rhian. You can get back to your phone now.
I'm so sorry.
It's all right. You'll go down in Woman's Hour history as the. But you know what? You're rock and roll, babe. Do it. And we're going to play out on another one. In fact, we're going to play out on Chaise Longue just because it is such a brilliant tune. That's all from me. Have a lovely weekend, Rhian. Thank you very much. And thanks for joining us on Woman's Hour. Have a great weekend.